All right, so we'll do that. Fed rates, and you ready? Okay, here we go. Hello, Austin, Texas. You're listening to the Home Team with Troy and Colton, where we bring sports and money together for your education and entertainment. If you have any questions about anything we say today, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com or give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And as always, this segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing your American dream. Well, Colton, welcome back. First off,
thank you.
I mean, it's been a while. It's been a month or two or
It's always
3 or
good to be
6
back.
since you were here.
Year and a half.
Since you're here to grace us, So if you have any questions and you'd like to get a hold of Colton, he's at Coltman11. I don't know if that's Xing or Twittering or I don't know what it is. Is it Twixting? Twixting. Yeah, you're
sounds
Twixting.
like a candy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you can always reach out to Wyatt because Wyatt's sick and he's not here, and you can reach out to him on the Facebook.
We miss you, Wyatt.
Yeah, that's the Home Team 512. And if you're a podcast kind of person, that's the YouTube channel is the Home Team 512. So we basically have a little bit for everybody to digest, and so this is important stuff right now.
Yeah.
So Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, he's the chairman, he's the speaker and a voting member. The board elected to not raise the Fed prime rate this month. So that went it's right now it's 5.25 to 5.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been that way for 60 days.
Okay.
And so everybody believes that was the last rate hike.
Mm-hmm.
He had been throwing out this 5.25 thing for a while and was trying to get there, and everybody was hoping he would have stopped at 4.75, but he kept going. Now he's at the 5.25. And so the thought was he would stop at this point. And so that's why, if you noticed, like a couple weeks ago, mortgage rates started to come down.
Mm-hmm.
And so there started to be a feeling of, I don't want to say content, but that's, we're starting to relax, in the mortgage industry. We felt we'd kind of broken orbit. We were going to hit a streak, and we were going to, kind of be a normal market again.
Yeah.
And so he, Mr. Powell does his thing, says, hey, we're going to leave it, we're going to unchanged, nothing's going to happen this month and everything. So, and all that. And then at the very end of his speech, he goes, but we're going to have one more hike this year. And I mean, it's literally, and then walks off kind of thing. And mortgage rates have jumped 0.5% since his speech. And that is because we're very confused.
Yeah.
And whether it's needed or not is unimportant. It's whether or not they are going to do it. There are some people that are of the camp that this is just kind of a scare tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not really planning on changing it, but they just want to scare people so people don't relax too soon.
Well, it seems more as a not if but when type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they think he's bluffing.
Yes,
Okay.
They think he's bluffing to prevent people from relaxing and going and thinking they've gotten past it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of regional sized banks are struggling because in a year and a half we went from 0.25 to 5.25 in base cost of funds. Okay. And that is a huge jump in 16 months because banks will have 2 or 3 year bonds and things like that. So they have their money lent out, and it's all at 2%, 2.5%, things like that. And so they're not able to, their money that they have out, they can't bring it back in because cost of penalties and things like that, and reinvest it into something that's going to bring them 4 or 5%. So banks, they've been struggling. A lot of mid-sized banks that are not small because the small banks can maneuver a little bit faster, and then they're not big because they have so much money that they can spread their losses out and it'd be okay. But those mid-sized banks, they're the ones that the 4 that went out were mid-sized banks. They were regional West Coast mid-sized banks.
Okay.
There are other banks that are struggling on this, and so I think that they need him to pause more so than anyone else, because I think they need to catch up. And so they have to, as their money's coming off of these other certificates and things like that, they're able to reinvest them in the market. But it's killing the regional sized banks, because if I can go to another bank that's paying 5% on their savings account, why would I stay at mine that's paying 1.5%?
Yeah.
Right? And so their money's being pulled out of these banks that were invested in safer investments. The money's being taken away from them and put into others. Like, most of my funds are now with, a money guy, right? Because they're just paying more. They're not short term, or they're not locked into these short term kind of things, and so they're paying more. They're paying over 5%.
Yeah.
And my savings account was paying 1.25%. Why would I leave that money there? I mean, that's literally 4% of money that I'm just not getting. And all I have to do is write a check. That's it.
It's money you're literally choosing not to have.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that is reducing the liquidity of these regional sized banks. And so there could be some things like that. The good thing, I think, that the government has realized is that they have to take care of these banks, because when those West Coast banks went out, there were a lot of investors or bank, to people. There were a lot of people that had money over the FDIC insured number, right? So the banks, if you go there, they guarantee up to $250,000, right? So if the bank fails and you've got $400,000 in there, you get $250 back, right? And so there was a big concern. There were a lot of people, and so the government made sure that every depositor was made 100% whole, right? And at first, a lot of people that don't have a lot of money were like, "That's just not fair. Why did you spend that money there?" And all that sort of stuff. And I get the concept, but in actuality, can you imagine if those three banks, or it was 2 in 1 weekend, right, went out, and the people that had a lot of money in there lost that money? What would have happened to the run on all the other banks? I mean, any bank, any person that had more than 250, and there's a lot, all of their money would have been taken out right then. And we could have had bank failures all across the country. And people weren't thinking that deep into it. So whether you agree or disagree with the thought process, the results were the right idea, because we've only had 2 more failures since then. And it was a very catching time. There was a lot going on at that moment.
How close was it?
I mean, like I said, over the weekend, the government, if they had decided not to cover that, because then I mean, every person with money in a FDIC insured institution over $250,000 would have taken all their money out, and they would have moved it somewhere else, and that's what caused the bank to go under. Was that it wasn't bad loans or bad investments. It was people taking their money out so fast. They took all their money out. They couldn't meet the money required to send the money out, and they had to fold.
That's a good thing the government wasn't like, "Hey, we just lost $20 billion. We can't really cover this one."
I heard a sad fact today, that the national debt is over $33 trillion. I don't think they would have noticed $20 billion.
No, they did.
We're 20 billion. I could have sworn I had 20 billion sitting here. But so what's this mean to you and me? I mean, what's this really mean to you and me? This means to you and me that the basic, sound, fundamental principles are still the same. Don't spend more than you have. $1 trillion in credit card debt. The average credit card interest rate now is like 24%. And there's $1 trillion in credit card debt at 24%.
Wow.
So
what's the average credit card debt right now?
It was like $8,800 the last time I checked. I have not checked that in a while. So let's just see. Average credit card debt. Oh, do you think it'll understand CC?
It could. The Google.
Oh, $7,300 in 2022. So I am sure it's more than that now.
Yeah, I can guarantee you it is.
So, yeah, $7,600. So it's like close to $8,000. That's the average. Now, there are people like me that have none, and so that means somebody to offset that has to have $16,000.
Yeah. It's few and far and in between.
Yeah, and so, but that's the recipe. Look, I can't tell everyone how to succeed, but I can sure tell you how to fail.
Yeah.
Right. And how to fail is to spend more than you make, and not save, not have a budget, buy things to impress people.
Yeah.
Those are I can tell you exactly how to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I've made all these mistakes.
Yeah.
And I know, and
You know them because you've done them.
I don't, and so I've been on both sides. I've kept up with the Joneses, and lived paycheck to paycheck, making good money. And I have told the Joneses, I don't care what they do, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I like that way much better, because as the market has shifted and changed and come down and everything else, it has not affected me personally. Because my finances are in order. I save. I don't go in debt unless I have to, sort of thing. And it's only real estate.
It kind of is as if not keeping up with the Joneses in the long run ends up making you the Joneses.
Yes, I mean it really does.
Yeah.
It really does. But also I think the biggest thing that people need to understand is that this is not a Mark Zuckerberg or something like that. This is Jeff Bezos. Everybody looks at Jeff Bezos, but nobody realizes that he started this in the late 80s, early 90s, and he lived paycheck to paycheck, and it's a long process.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's steady, it's disciplined, it's boring, it's doing what needs to be done over and over and over again until it finally pays off.
It's powdered Gatorade.
Yeah, powdered Gatorade. Long story there. But it is, and those are the things you have to understand that compound interest doesn't work until you give it time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, you've been listening to the Home Team with Troy and Colton. We hope you've enjoyed what you've heard so far. If you have any questions about anything we've said, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com or give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And as always, this segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing your American dream.
Yeah. You can't compound if you don't give it time.